Hey, F50 Women audience, thank you so much today for joining us. We have Kelli Calabrese. Did I say that name right?
You did. I will.
Yeah, she is a seasoned wellness coach, a speaker, a best-selling author, and entrepreneur. She has 3 science degrees and 27 certifications. She's an expert on all things wellness. One of those certifications Kelli holds is as a divorce coach. She helps people get through that very real, serious grief that's felt during separation, divorce, and then post divorce to live an amazing bonus life, which I'm interested in to hear what that bonus life is. But she's intentionally fabulous, and she's here with us today. So thank you so much for joining us, Kelli.
Jilly, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So let's just start out by getting to know who you are. Tell us about you as a little girl, as a either it could be child or as a preteen or as a at a younger age, just so we get to know who you are and how you became who you are today.
I would love to do that. So I was born in New York. And when I was 13, I wrote in my diary, I will be an exercise therapist. I really didn't even know what that meant. I was just
Really?
really happy when I was running, dancing, jumping, swimming, cheerleading, softball. I was like, what do people not get about this? Like, I love this endorphin rush. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I had a really strong family history of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancer, alcoholism, and I looked at all that and went, "Ooh, I want to move away from that." So it's kind of the combination.
Okay.
So I wrote that down when I was 13.
And at 13, were you aware of all the health issues in your family's history, or was this more an inner just knowing?
I was. My dad was the
Okay.
oldest living male in his family at 36. So the man just did not live
Seriously?
long. Yeah, so I kind of had this fear like, wow, will my dad see me graduate high school, college, get married, have kids? So that was always in the back of my mind.
Right. And
He's not with us now, but
okay.
he made it to 70. And my mom is
Nice.
so good about, she kept him alive way longer than he would have on his own. She was a great, great spouse and caregiver.
Okay. So now we have to jump straight to who you are now because I have a whole bunch of questions about that. So tell us about who you are now, what you do, and what this thing is called divorce coaching. I don't get it.
I empower women to get past the fear, grief, and rejection of divorce so that they can heal and create an intentionally fabulous bonus life.
Bonus life. What's a bonus life? I
A
mean, we
bonus
only get
life
one
is
as far as I know.
none of us have the life we thought we'd have, especially with divorce. Things are going to go to the altar and go separate ways. We just don't. So it's a second chance. It's a clean slate, but really it's for everyone every day. We get to wake up every day and be our best self. We get to wake up every day, regardless of our circumstances and situations, and decide to count it all joy. Let's make the best of it. What can I do to make today great? So
Yeah.
really every day is an opportunity to have something better than you could ask, think, or imagine from yesterday.
So, what is it about divorce? I know because I've been through it that it's a genuine grieving process, and I don't think people who don't go through it understand. It's like someone died, but they're still alive. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
talk to us about how you help through that process. Can you help us through?
Yeah. So one of the first things is identity. Our identity is as a wife or a husband or whatever your
Yeah.
role is. And we get so wrapped in that. And then all of a sudden it's gone. It's like, who am I? And the second age for divorce is
Yeah.
50. So at that age, now you're also an empty nester. So your role as a mom is different. And with divorce, you're
Yeah.
probably changing neighborhoods, churches. I mean, everything can really
Yeah.
change. So it's this whole identity crisis of, wait a minute, who am I? How did I get here? Why did this happen to me? So really
Yeah.
helping women walk through not getting their identity from the outside things, which are all temporary, but more of an internal, like who am I designed to be? For me, a lot of it is my faith, just relying on, well, how does God see me?
Yeah.
So that really got me through. So identity is one of the first things that we start with because
Yeah.
depending on how wrapped you were in being a wife, you could really stay bitter and angry and depressed for a long time. Because that
Yeah. Are you finding the one major block between a woman getting through that is faithlessness, meaning if they don't have that higher power? Do you find that as the one thing that keeps them stuck, or are there other things?
Well, there's other things, but the fear is what comes in. When you don't have
Okay.
faith, you're filled with fear. And
Yeah.
especially women who are looking back with regret and, wondering what happened and guilt or shame or rejection, whatever you're thinking about that already happened, you're dealing
Yeah.
with that. But now you're like, am I going to have money? Am I going to be lovable again? And you're thinking everything in the future. So you're just in this anxious place where you're paralyzed, you're having panic attacks, and it's an awful place to be. So without faith, it is difficult to do it in your own flesh, in your own mind, because those thoughts will creep in and lie to you and keep you in fear all day long if you don't
Yes.
have faith.
Yes. And then the thoughts that what are other people thinking about me, as you're walking around as a single woman, all the other
Yeah.
ladies are sort of married and happy.
Yeah, you're
But
so
yeah,
internalized. You think everyone's talking about you, everyone's looking at you, everyone's thinking about you. They're
yeah,
really not. And if they are, that's on them, but you just feel like it. If you were the one to break up your family, you're carrying guilt and
yeah,
shame for breaking up your family. If you were left, you're
yeah.
carrying rejection because you're like, why did he leave me? Why was I not lovable? So there's all these things that come in to really just take over your mind and paralyze you.
And so do individuals find you or do you find them? Because I imagine when you get divorced, you're sort of sunk in your own hole. And how do they
Yeah.
come to you?
Well,
Are they searching?
isolation and
Yeah.
loneliness is a big deal. I have a Facebook group called Intentionally Fabulous. And when they come in, I ask them, what's your greatest challenge on the questionnaire? And loneliness is one of the biggest ones. So
Okay.
that's one of the reasons that I have the group, because we talk about the hard things. We have community, we have support, we laugh, we're just there for each other. Things that people never thought about when they were thinking about getting divorced or being left that come up, and you're like, oh, what about health insurance? Or, oh, what do I do with the rings? What do you do with the wedding pictures? Or you're like, we talk about
Yeah.
all the things, the kids, all
Yeah.
of that,
All the
dating
real
again.
stuff. Have you ever had anyone come to you for assistance or be part of your group and then get back with their spouse and then feel
Yes.
guilty or do
That
they
is my
still?
goal. Yeah, I had one woman, she came to me, it's probably about 3 years ago, and she was like, Kelly, I cannot stand to be in the room with him. I don't want to look at his tattoos. I'm sick of his bald head. Like, she was just like, I'm done. I'm moving into the guest room. This is it. And I'm like, can we just work on you? Like, let's just work on you. Because regardless, wherever you go, there you are, whether it's the next relationship and we
Yes.
worked on her. And thankfully, he wanted to fight for the marriage as well. And
Yeah.
so I actually just saw her recently, and my heart is so happy for them. They are so in love.
Yeah.
Everything just came together for them. It has been beautiful. So my first goal, if it is possible, is if it is safe to
Yeah.
save the marriage. And then if it's not, then we deal with that. But I would much rather save marriages than help women walk through divorce.
Right. Yes. And do tell us about the the light at the end of the tunnel. Say I'm divorced, it's over. What do you see happening to the women who come through this process that you take them through?
Well, it's
Tell us about
interesting.
that result. Yeah.
Right before this recording, I fixed my ice maker. I'm like, look at me. Like, there are things that are good about being single. And if you've always been, I was married we were together 26 years. And so for the first time, you're like, I have a clean slate. Like, this is a chance for me to be my best self. I should be the fittest I am in my life. I should be doing the most personal development, the best self-care, girlfriend time, family time. Like, this is the time I could learn, I could get a side gig. I mean, there are definitely great things about I don't have to compromise. I could decide the temperature in the house, what I eat, when I eat, movie to watch or not, and your
Yeah.
parenting time is quality time. It's just a great season if you look at it that way or
Right.
not. We have a choice. A lot of women just stay in, stay depressed, stay isolated, and that's not healthy and that's not how we're supposed to live.
Right. That's not living. You're missing your life because of the thing that happened to you. So I don't know. You can't talk about so nicely though, because the rest of us might be like, I don't want to fight over the temperature in the house anymore. That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we
I'm
are
just joking.
designed
Yeah.
to be coupled. It is
Yeah.
absolutely when, you're
Yeah.
both working on it and you're committed. I mean, the first thing God brought together was marriage, and there was a
Yeah.
reason. And it's going to be the first thing the enemy tries to divide. And when he can, it's awful. It divides money, it divides children, it's generational.
Yeah.
So, yes, stay together, love each other, work on it. It is work, but it is worth it.
Yes. So can I ask, are you, so you're divorced, it sounded like you said.
Yes.
And is that the thing that happened that changed everything for you? Was it your divorce? And talk about the thing that changed everything for you.
Absolutely. So mine was a blindsided kind of one where he came home after 24 years and said, my commitment to our marriage is zero. He left. He served me with divorce papers. A
Oh,
month
my
later,
dear
we were
Lord.
divorced. And then right after that, within a month, he was re-engaged and remarried. So it was just like assault, assault, assault. Took me to my knees. I mean, really emptied me out. Felt like
Seriously.
a tornado came in, just blew up my life and left scattered pieces everywhere with a gaping, excruciatingly painful hole in my heart.
Oh, my
So
God.
I'm a knowledge person. I was like, I have to figure this out. There's got to be something that fills this hole in my heart, makes the pain stop. And I wanted to do it in a healthy way because I see, women can turn to wine, another man, isolation, escapism. I mean, you could take exercise and overdo it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something healthy. So I went on this quest and I went to the retreats, the Bible studies, the divorce recovery. I was in the prayer groups. I was at the seminars, read the books, fueling myself with things to keep me at peace
Okay.
and to become the best version of me, to understand my part in it as well, because it wasn't 100% him and 0% me. So
Right.
if I was going to get stronger and better and not bring the old me into the future, I needed to do the deep work.
Okay. And so tell us about that deep work that you did. Was there a moment that something clicked? I imagine you go into this deep hole or this whirlwind, and then you're trying to climb out, and there's some point where either you get to a ledge or something clicks, and it's like, okay, that's it. I'm done, and this is where I'm going. Did that happen to you?
There were 8 clicks for me. And they're
Okay.
actually
Okay.
that's how I created my program. It was the program that I wished I had when I was,
Nice.
in the depths of divorce. And
Yeah.
I remember like palpably feeling like, oh, a layer came off, or wow, that was lifted. And
Really
so
nice.
one of the things was forgiveness. And I know people don't like to talk about forgiveness. And some people are like, Kelly, if you knew my story, you would not be telling. And I'm not taking anything away from horrible, horrific, abusive. But
Yeah.
that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness
Right.
is for you, and it's releasing yourself from the failure and holding your own feet to the fire and burning yourself. So in that
Okay.
forgiveness, I finally got freedom that, well, again, my faith, that's not how God sees me. Like God isn't rejecting me, and
Right.
God came so all sins could be forgiven. Why am I staying and burning myself here?
Yeah.
So forgiveness
Yeah.
was huge. And it was one of the last, I wish I could say it was first, because I had said the words like, I forgive him, but it really was way more about me. And
Okay.
so, yeah, that was a big part of it.
Yeah. Forgiveness seems to be a hard one for people to grasp because they feel like you're letting the other person off free and they're not going to get to pay for what they've done. So it's a big one. I think people won't really get it until you actually do it and get freed from it.
Yeah. And I had
So,
said the words, I forgive him, I forgive, but then there'd be some trigger like, oh, there's
yes.
his wedding pictures on Facebook, or, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, he did this with the kids. And
Yeah.
so I knew I hadn't forgiven. But when you know you've forgiven, the highest level of forgiveness is actually blessing the person in the area where they hurt you. I can
Mhm.
say with all my heart, with no animosity, no bitterness, that I bless him and his new wife in their marriage. I mean it, till death do they part. I hope they're happy. They complete each other. I don't want to have
Yeah.
dinner across the table from him necessarily, but
Right.
good for them. No hard feelings.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's a hard place to get to. And I know some people are probably listening thinking that's impossible and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
But
if you don't, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. I mean, really.
yes, that's a
And
perfect analogy.
people think they have to forget. They don't. It's like if someone steps on your foot, you forgive them, but you're still going to limp for a while. Like it hurts. You're going to be like
Right.
limping along, like, well, I forgive you for stepping on my
Right.
foot, but I still feel the pain. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you forget,
Right.
but forgiving just keeps you from staying in bitterness and
Right.
depression and sadness and anger and whatever's inside you. When life gets hard, that's what's coming out. So when the
Yeah.
pressure and the stress of life comes in, if you're carrying anger and resentment and defensiveness and whatever it is, that's what's always coming out of you. So until you fill it with love and peace and joy and goodness and gentleness, you're not
Yeah.
going to experience that.
And you're going to just hurt those around you as well. And if
That's
you have
right.
children, you need to try to get rid of it if you can. So they can,
There's a
yeah.
cost to not getting rid of. You're going to do something, and there's
Yeah.
a cost to not being the best for yourself, for your kids.
Yeah.
in the world, professionally, whatever you're supposed to do, you're missing out because you're so internalized with your anger.
So can I ask, how did you reconcile what happened to you in divorce with your relationship with God? Because, you hear that God hates divorce. And how did you reconcile that? You
Yeah,
did
he
speak about God
does.
loving you. So yeah,
Yeah,
just talk about
he
that a little bit.
does hate divorce. Divorce is horrible. You know why he hates it when you're in it and you're like, I can see why he hates it. This is terrible. I hate what he hates. I hate
Yes.
pornography and pedophilia and divorce. Like, I hate everything that God hates. I never shook my fist at God. Like, you know, I did all the right things, God. But, I was a good
Right.
wife. He threw me away.
Yeah.
I just trusted. It was hard. I had to be
Okay.
still for a long time. And so I wrestled with God, where I was like, God,
Right.
you made me a doer. You made me this responsible super achiever. How can you expect me to sit here and just do nothing? Surely you've got more in the world for me than just sitting here. But I needed it. I
Okay.
needed that stillness and that quiet time to heal
Yeah.
and to strengthen. And so it was a battle for me, not shaking my fist at God, but allowing him to grow me.
Yes. Okay. And you talked about prayer groups and workshops and all of these other things. Can you recall any prayer group, workshop, event, or anything you were involved in that really affected you? It could be negatively or positively. I'm just, helping people to understand the process and what they might feel somewhere
Yeah,
along the line.
absolutely. I was at one of the retreats. It was a women's retreat. It was 4 days. And someone mentioned the grief cycle. And I was like,
Mhm.
grief cycle? I've been studying personal development for 30 years. I never heard of that. And I had just come back from going to a Christian psychologist. And he said to me, Kelly, you're one of the healthiest people I've ever seen. I've looked at tens of thousands of profiles. You're empathetic, you're sympathetic, you're this, you're that, but you're depressed. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, you don't know me. Like, I've been a coach for 30 something years. I'm the encourager. I can't be depressed. And
Right.
I allowed myself to go home and really be depressed. And when I saw this grief cycle at this retreat, depression is actually on the upswing. And she's like, Kelly, depression is good. I'm like, what do you
What are you
mean? Like,
talking
this feels
about?
terrible. And she's like, well, you've already gotten past the isolation and the loneliness and the sadness and the denial and rejection. And, she's like, depression
Mm.
is, you're on the way to recovering and readjusting and getting healthy. And it gave me permission to go
Okay.
home and be depressed and really sit in that and grieve, the dreams that were lost and the unmet expectations and the unfairness and all
Yeah.
of that. After about 10 days, I got up and I was like, okay, I think I got this. And not that I'll never have a depressed moment again, but I was never a depressed person. It was a
Okay.
situational depression, which again,
Yes.
there were so many things I knew nothing about before divorce. Situational depression was one. But unless
Yeah.
I went and sought out that counselor and he labeled me as depressed, not forever, but in that season, not to
Right.
be a cycle, but just a season, or if I didn't go to that retreat and know that depression was on the upswing and that was a good part of the grief cycle, I might still be laying in depression somewhere.
Yeah. So it's great for people to engage with you in your community because there are things that you just don't know that you need to know to help you to get past to the next
You
stage.
need
Yeah.
community. Oh my goodness. Do not isolate. Do not do this by yourself. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
taking a baby aspirin when you have cancer if you're trying to
Yeah.
do this by yourself. You need support. You need information. Sometimes you just need someone to sit with you. Because honestly, as a friend, I had friends who went through divorce and I had no idea the suffering that it was. Unless your house burned down, you don't
I have
know. Or if
no
someone says
idea.
I had an abortion or I lost a, unless you've done it, you don't know. So
Yes.
knowing what I now know, I can help my friends. But before, you don't even, we're not equipped. We don't know.
With the same analogy, I didn't know what it was like to lose a parent to death. But then a friend of ours, she was in the church and she talked about how her mother died. She talked about the process. She talked about stupid things people would say to her. And she was just sharing because she wanted us to understand. And at that point, I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay. But then when my father passed away, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what she's talking about. For individuals who are on this podcast listening to you, they should listen because they could be prepared to help someone else or themselves. God forbid. Yeah.
It's true. You don't know the right thing to say in the right moment. I remember
Mm.
really early on a friend saying, if he did you a favor, you will be so much better off without him. First of all, kind of putting him down. But also I was like, she's just being mean because she's divorced. I don't want to be divorced. Like I remember like stuff would hit me. I'm like, that's terrible. But now I'm like,
Yeah.
she was right. Like I am way better off. Like I would
Yeah.
just be limping along in an unhappy marriage with a man I couldn't trust. And now I'm like, whew, I'm okay. Even if I'm alone, I'm totally at peace, being by
Yeah.
myself right now. But I'm like,
Right.
she was right. But in that moment, it really hurt.
Right. Yes. So was it hard for you at first to tell your story?
It
Even though you came
was.
through it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is how I know it was God. I didn't say the word divorce for a year. Literally, my former husband moved out before I even told my mom and my brother. I mean,
Okay.
it was to the point where like, okay, I can't hide it anymore. And one of my first goals was to get two kids successfully in college. So that happened almost 2 years ago now. And
Okay.
I remember coming home and I had a freshman and a sophomore. I'm like, they got cars, they got computers, they got phones, their tuition's paid because it was 100% on me to provide for our family, and especially for the kids for their college. So
Yeah.
I came home and I felt like I checked that box and I was like, okay, God, now what? He wanted me to help women get through divorce because I did not in a million years want to put myself out here on this platform as a divorce coach. That's how I know it wasn't me because I didn't even want to say the word divorce. I've been in fitness, nutrition, wellness for years, but
Yeah.
all of that prepared me for this too.
Right.
Because I know how to help women make change and the mental shifts necessary to renew your mind. Even if you feel like everything is out of control, the one thing you can do something about is your health. Let's start by the food you're putting in your mouth because you feel like you've aged, you feel like you're exhausted. So I really felt like I
Can't
was
eat any more
chosen.
pints of ice cream. Yeah.
Either they don't eat because they're so upset and they don't want to cook for one, they feel unworthy, they're too sick to eat, or
Yeah.
where they're just stuffing their emotions trying to fill that ache, but the
Yeah.
ice cream isn't going to do it.
Yeah. And now that you've come out of this, you're on the other side. How would you describe yourself?
Empowered, bold, adventurous, excited, expectant, filled with
Mhm.
peace, joy, and love.
And now, were you that before you got married? Even was that you before? Then it went through the marriage, and now you came out that way, or do you feel like things have been added to what was there before?
Totally added. I was intense. I was a perfectionist. I was a
Okay.
striver. I was a super achiever. Yeah, I was judgmental. Yeah, it's been a
Hmm.
huge shift. It was
Wow.
necessary.
Wow, that's pretty great. Because
Yes.
there's that phrase that don't waste your pain,
Yes.
and don't waste it. Learn from it, grow from it. And
Yes.
I know if there are individuals listening who are in that pain section, just keep pushing. On the other side will be the rainbow and the light and the lessons. You can't grow unless you feel a little bit of pain. You're a health coach. You're not going to build muscle if you don't actually lift something that's heavy.
That's right.
Yeah. So I know we talked about, my question is, did you have mentors through your process of even developing as a divorce coach?
Oh my goodness.
Or,
Yes. I hired over 21 coaches.
wow,
And
okay.
I interviewed 21 of them for my program. I was not an expert in grief. I had a breath therapist, a meditation therapist, an energy therapist. I had someone to walk me through everything from healing infidelity, if you want to re-engage and get back into a relationship. So 21 different people. I had a mental health for brain health because I had so much PTSD. My brain was fogged over. I couldn't remember. I couldn't think.
Wow.
And so he trained me how to retrain my memory. So they're
Wow.
actually all a part of my program. So I put them all in there as bonus and some that were not for me, but I know as I started working with women, like sexual trauma was one. It wasn't an issue for me, but a lot of women it is. So I went out and I sought out coaches even to help my clients, to help me help my clients. So
Okay.
yes, for sure.
What made you go to all of those coaches? I mean, did you just know the value, and did you just look at yourself and say, okay, I think it's my brain. Okay, I think it's my breathing. How did you get to that point? Because like a breathing
Yeah.
coach, I didn't even, do
Oh
they
my
have
goodness,
such
the
a
breath
thing?
work is amazing. I actually had her come and stay with me for 2 weeks, and it was the best I felt in my life. And I'm a fitness person. My body holds trauma. Just in having her here, she changed how I sit, how I stand, how I sleep, how I walk, how I ride my bike, how I breathe. when I present versus, just walking. So it changed everything. The stress left my body. I could turn my neck for the first time in forever. All the tension was just in my
Yeah.
body. Breathing calmed down my nervous system. So there's so much to learn. The more that I learn, even though I have 3 science degrees, the more I realize there is to know. And I don't have a lifetime to be an expert in all these things. So I started meditating and I was having difficulty like a lot of people do where am I doing this right? I was frustrated, couldn't focus. So I found one of the top meditation coaches and she walked me through. I found a grief counselor once I realized what this whole grief cycle was to walk me through that.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who does a program called Re-Engage. When you're ready to get engaged for the second time, we know that the divorce rate for second marriages is 78%. You all your stuff into the next relationship and now you've got blended families and kids, so it makes it really challenging unless you do the deep work and you get healthy. It's possible and manageable and you can work through it. So I have her as part of my program too. I'm not there yet, I'm not dating, but I know a lot of women pretty quickly do. And I have someone who's a finance expert because single women is the #1 poverty group. And if women don't get remarried, their chances of being in poverty are great. So I want to equip them for abundance and wealth and to get out of the poverty mindset, whether they get married or not.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love this even more because it's a all encompassing, well-rounded program because it deals with all of their dimensions, all of the different things we have to deal with. That's incredible. Okay.
Thank
And
you.
it feels like this could, no, I'm not going there. I was just thinking that this could be if somebody passes away, this is almost all the things you need for that too, other than
It's
the,
any grief, it's any
yeah,
loss. And we have so much loss in our life. And, the grief cycle is the same. So the things I talk about, like identity and forgiveness and renewing your mind and purpose, like you wonder whether you lost a child or a spouse to an accident, cancer, whatever, it's still a loss. And we have the opportunity to adjust using all these tools. And so I think anyone could benefit and heal from any loss or pain in their life, not just the divorce, but this was just the thing that maybe was the major event that made you stop and want to handle it. Because when you get divorced, you only take what got you here and it gets amplified.
unless you fix it. So you talked about not sort of shaking your finger or getting upset with God. How is your relationship with God now? Is it bigger? Is it better? Is it more faithful? Do you feel like you can just go through anything and your faith
I
is just,
do. When I think about starting to date again, I'm like, I don't think anything would phase me the way my husband of 25 years could reject me. Like, I don't think any rejection in the media. So even my kids, I wound up being the brunt and the target of their anger. I didn't know this, but the stronger parent is the one who gets the worst of them because they need a safe place where they can go and just be ugly. And whether it's anger or rejection that comes from them, I was that parent for them. So I was getting all the ugliness of 2, late age teenagers at the same time. So I don't think I could probably take any rejection right now. If, Oprah embarrassed me on her stage, I could take it because I have been through what I feel is the worst rejection, where you could be married to someone for 25 years and he could leave you like you're a piece of garbage and you were the kind of wife that I was.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel equipped. I really do.
Right. Now, how did you deal with that when you were going through your own grief and your own grief and your children were going through theirs? How did you still be the rock for them and not take it personally? Or
Yeah,
did you take it?
it was challenging. I
Yeah.
kept my eyes on God
Okay.
and with my goal to let love win. How do
Okay.
I love these kids unconditionally? Did I do it perfectly? No. Did I fall short? Yes. Did I miss the mark? Many times.
Yeah.
But I never really broke.
Okay.
I didn't have that breaking point where, I went crazy or threw him out of the house, or
Yeah.
I had to set boundaries. I
Yeah.
had to guard my own heart. And that's another great book to read on boundaries because I didn't know. And I was an enabler and I was enabling their behavior. At some point, I just knew that I had to guard my heart. And I also had to have boundaries for them because they couldn't treat their mom. One day they're going to have mothers in laws and, they couldn't treat a
Yeah.
woman this way. I had to be strong for me and for them.
That's good advice. If you met your younger self today, what is the one piece of advice you would give her?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say be in the moment, really be present. Whoever you're with, make them feel like the most important person on the planet. Let people be
Okay.
seen, let people be heard, that the little things don't matter as much, not to be so intense about things, that things will work out. You really can't ruin God's plans. If you go right or left, He's still with you. So the little things don't matter as
Right.
much. Just be present and discover who you are, because there's
Yeah.
one of you and you're amazing. So
Yeah.
really get to know her and be comfortable and confident with who she is.
Okay. And do you think if you were able to get that advice as a younger woman, would you have listened?
I actually have 3 best-selling books, and one of them is called Passionistas, and it is what would you say to your younger self? And it tells a
Is
story
it?
of 28 different women who are successful. And looking back, what would you tell your younger self? Shares their stories and tips in that book. It's called Passionistas. You can get
That's
it
a
on
good one.
Amazon.
Learn from the stories of, yeah, looking back. I love that stuff. Give us some advice from your playbook. You just mentioned the Passionistas. And so, what's one other book you would advise all women to read and why?
My latest best-selling book is called Success Habits of Superachievers. And what that is about, there's over 80 stories in there of ordinary people just like you and me that something unreasonably difficult happened to, and they chose to be resilient. They chose to get the courage to get back up and not only recover from it, but to really do something great with it and be a difference maker. And so I recommend, if you need hope, you need encouragement, every day get up and read one story. When you read that story, you go, wow, if they could get over what they did, I can
Yeah.
get through my day and do it well. So for that
Yes.
purpose, I really do like that book. And if they go to my website, kellicalabrese.com, I have a free electronic version of that they can get at kellicalabrese.com. Yeah, it's called Success Habits of Superachievers. So they can have that for free.
Yes. And I am a believer that a story, other people's stories really can empower you. And you can say, wait a minute, I can do this. You talked about meditating, you talked about prayer. Is that the one thing you can't miss doing every day? Or is there something else? What's the one thing you can't miss doing every day?
Well, I do exercise every day.
Okay.
So
That's why you guys can't see her on the podcast, but that's why she looks so amazing.
thank you. And in my 50s, we can all look good, ladies.
Yes.
That I remember one time considering writing a book when I was in my 20s. People would always go, Kelly, how do you do it? How do you do it? Like, you're always so fit and you run around. And at that time, I managed 4 health clubs that I co-owned, and I was running a school and managing corporate fitness centers. And I had a beautiful house. And like, how do you do it? And for me, I would start my day with exercise, and that
Okay.
set the tone, because now my metabolism up, my brain is clear, and but really, if I had to put anything in the center, it's God. But that's my God time too, because I'm listening to sermons and I'm got worship music on and I'm moving my body. So it's a combination. I have a great morning and a great evening routine,
Okay.
but getting your body going physically helps you to do it mentally, spiritually, even socially, if you're exercising socially as well. So get
Yeah.
moving, especially in your 50s. It's never too late. Your
Yes.
body's amazing.
Yes. Get up and get moving. Your energy starts to dwindle. The less you move, the less you have energy. And it's like a cycle.
Yes.
Listen, pray to God and worship while you're working
Yes.
out. Why not? You don't have to listen to the news. You can
No,
listen to some
I haven't watched
scriptures.
TV in 30 years. I every day probably listen to 3 sermons. I've got worship music on when I'm curling my hair, when I'm in the shower,
Yeah.
cleaning, whatever. That's all that's in my car, the praise station. So
Yeah.
I only put good things in. I'm not
Yeah.
watching R-rated movies. I'm not watching horror movies. I don't allow news or anything in,
Yeah.
because that's my filter. So I'm only allowing positive messages in.
And were you always like that? Or is that sort of a
Always.
new? Okay.
Yeah, no, I never
Yeah.
watched TV. It was on in the house when I was young, but I moved out when I was 17 to go to college. I've never, if it's a good movie, like a true story documentary, and I've got someone to watch it with, then of
Yeah.
course I would watch, but I
And
don't
you
sit by
watch.
myself and watch TV. That just seems silly to me.
Yeah. So, what is the one message you would want to leave behind to all of us?
Yeah, we are here to love. And so that is the greatest commandment. And the idea is the number one need that everyone has that has breath is to be unconditionally seen and
Yeah.
loved. So
Yeah.
be that, be the love that you would like to receive.
Yeah.
You have no idea how hurt people are or what going on in their day, but go out and just spread some joy, spread some love, spread some cheer. If you did nothing else that day, it would still be a success.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I do want to ask one more question, and that is, what is next for you? You've got this amazing book. You've got two other amazing books. Tell us what's next.
I am really committed to empowering women to be their best selves, to overcome
Yeah.
whatever it is that's in their past and really get free from it, and to step boldly into what their potential is and not to finish their lives with any regret. Divorce coaching is part of it. I do my life coaching and fitness coaching, but
Okay.
really to help women be their best selves and to see their purpose become a reality.
Okay. So on that note, tell us how we can get in touch with you after this podcast is over.
I'll do that. I answer every single email. So if anyone would
Okay.
like to email me, if they heard something on this podcast that inspired them, or they've got a question or they want to connect, it's Kelli with an I at kellicalabrese.com. My website is the same. If you're a woman going through separation, divorce, post-divorce, even I work with a woman the other day, 7 years post-divorce, who's still not healed, they can go to intentionallyfabulous.com. I do have the Facebook group, Intentionally Fabulous. So if you're a woman, come join us there. We have a great time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Is there anything else that you want to share? Just going to
Celebrate life. If you are not good about doing that, you're going to burn out. You're going to go from goal to goal, just not recognizing the preciousness and the value of life. So acknowledge your success and invite people in to celebrate success with you. Really reflect on what's going well in your life. And gratitude is a superpower. So even if you feel like you have nothing and no hope, start with gratitude and watch what happens.
Yeah, love that. Gratitude is a superpower. Well, thank you again, Kelli, for being with us. And
Thank you, Julia.
God bless you in your journey forward.
Thanks for bringing the podcast to the world. The world needs
Yeah,
it.
thank you.